Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. Today, I'm going to be comparing Jack Del Rio's 4-3 defense versus Greg Manusky's 3-4 defense, and showing you guys which is a better fit, and also going to be comparing the two defensive coordinators. If you guys are new, subscribe for Redskins and NFL content. So let's get right into it. So, as you guys know, the Redskins Greg Manusky and hired Jack Del Rio as their defensive coordinator right after they hired head coach Ron Rivera. Jack Del Rio has been a player in this league and also a coach for a long time. If you look at his full coaching history, worked with the Ravens, and I'm also going to be showing you guys his base defense and how the 4-3 is going to work for the Redskins, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But he coached for the Ravens as their linebackers coach for a few years with during their Super Bowl run with obviously Ray Lewis, one of the best linebackers of all time. Then went to Carolina as their defensive coordinator for one season, then got a head coaching job in Jacksonville for a very long time from 2003 to 2011. Then went to the Broncos for a defensive coordinator job, and then the Raiders for a head coaching job. So I'm going to be showing you guys Jack Del Rio has a history of turning defenses around from being bottom defenses in the league to top defenses in the league in 1 year. So in Denver, let's start off with the Panthers. He brought the Panthers from the 31st defense to second overall defense in 1 year. That's why he got a head coaching job after 1 year as a defensive coordinator. Then, in 3 out of his first 4 seasons in Jacksonville, they were top 6 defense in yards, 6 in 2005, and 2006, and second in 2004. So yeah, really, really good history as a defensive coordinator, and also he has a history of very, very good pass rushers. He has had Julius Peppers, Von Miller, Khalil Mack. He's had them when they were very young. So he had Julius Peppers, Von Miller, and Khalil Mack in their rookie years. And like I said, he plays a 4-3 defense. So let's look at his base defense real quick. But before we do that, let me just tell you guys what Peppers and Von Miller did in their first year with Jack Del Rio. Julius Peppers had 12.5 sacks and 5 forced fumbles in his rookie year, and Von Miller had about 11.5 sacks in his rookie year with Jack Del Rio. So very, very, very good years with Jack Del Rio in their first year. And obviously we have Chase Young and Montez Sweat, so that's going to help out a lot. So the right here is Jack Del Rio's defensive stats as a player. He had a very amazing year in 1994. You can look at those stats for a while, and then now in a couple seconds we're going to be looking at his 4-3 defense, and then we will compare it to Greg Manusky and how Jack Del Rio's defense is going to be so much better. So right here, this is the 4-3 defense. It's a 4-3 under. This is what Jack Del Rio usually uses. That's his kind of base defense. So you see there's 5 people rushing. Sometimes some of those players are going to come back. But usually this is what it's going to look like. It's 4-3 under. You got 2 outside corners. But obviously if it's a third down play where they need to get 10 yards, they're going to put another cornerback in the slot if there's 3 receivers and stuff like that. But defense is so much better than the base 3-4 defense because as you see right here, you see 3 people rushing instead of 4 and 5. We're going to be able to, instead of having Montez Sweat, Ryan Anderson, and Ryan Kerrigan dropping back in coverage, they're going to be able to rush the quarterback, and it's just going to be so much more efficient because imagine having Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Matt Ioannidis and playing a 3-4. I'm still amazed that we played a 3-4 defense last year with our crazy defensive front. We still played a 3-4 defense. It just shows how terrible of a defensive coordinator that Greg Manusky was in Washington because you had Montez Sweat and Ryan Kerrigan, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Matt Ioannidis. You should play a 4-3. Definitely play a 4-3. And now with Chase Young, it makes it automatic. But Jack Del Rio has been using this defense for a long time when he was in Oakland, Denver, and Carolina as a defensive coordinator. So I think this is a great defense because it allows for all of our best defensive players to be on the field at the same time. You got Chase Young and Montez Sweat on the outside. You got maybe Jonathan Allen here, and then Deron Payne and Matt Ioannidis in the center. It depends. If you got 4 people, you want Deron Payne more in on run plays because he's a really good run stopper, and then you want Matt Ioannidis and Jonathan Allen when you're trying to on like 3rd and long, something like that. But this allows for us to get more pass rushers, and this year we're gonna have a lot more sacks than we did last year. Trust me on that. The defensive scheme is so much better with Jack Del Rio. Our defense is going to be so much more disciplined. We got a lot more younger guys instead of Josh Norman, who got burnt every freaking play last year. But now let's look at Greg Manusky. So Greg Manusky was a linebackers coach from 2001 and 2006. He also played in the league for the Redskins for a few years and a couple other teams. He was a defensive coordinator for the 49ers from 2007 to 2010. Defensive coordinator for the Chargers for 1 year, got fired. Defensive coordinator for the Colts for 4 years, got fired. Then got hired as an outside linebackers coach, and then Jay Gruden hired his guy and had him for 3 years. And if you look right here at his stint in Indianapolis, it was not good. The Colts defense under Manusky hasn't been solid during their first 3 years together. The unit improved from 2004, but still finished 27th in total yards per game and 25th in points per game allowed in 2015. So they did not do good at all with Greg Manusky as their defensive coordinator. Jack Del Rio, as a defensive coordinator, always had very, very good defenses. When he was in Jacksonville for a couple years, didn't have very good defenses, but he was the head coach. He wasn't really in charge of the scheme for the defense, and same with Oakland. They, like Ron Rivera, he hired a defensive coordinator to do the scheme for him. So Jack Del Rio as a defensive coordinator was amazing. And yeah, he also, real quick, going back to Jack Del Rio, he took Denver over, a defense that was 20th in yards and 24th in points, and brought them to 2nd in yards and 4th in points. So he has a very good history of turning defenses around. That's why I am so excited for him. If you look at the Redskins defense in 2019, they were 27th in the league in yards. A defense as talented as Washington was last year should at worst be like 20th, but 27th is terrible for the talent we had. Even though we didn't have as much talent as we have this year, we still had an incredible defensive front, some decent linebackers, and Landon Collins, an okay secondary. We should have at least, with a decent defensive coordinator, we would have been an average defense in the league. With a great defensive coordinator like Jack Del Rio, our defense last year would have probably been top 15. And this year, with the addition of Chase Young, Kendall Fuller, Thomas Davis, and a couple other players, and the subtraction of Josh Norman, I think that our defense could honestly be a top 10, top 15 defense in the league. I think definitely, if everything goes right, not many injuries, I think probably a top 15 defense, and then maybe if maybe we can get a top 10 defense with Jack Del Rio. And we just need a cornerback like Jalen Ramsey or someone like that in the next offseason, and our defense is almost going to be complete. But it's just Greg Manusky, with all the talent he had, just didn't do enough. Also, he got fired by the Redskins this offseason, and instead of getting an assistant coaching job in the NFL, like a linebackers coach or another defensive coordinator job or something like that, he got one of the worst possible jobs you can get. He was hired by the he was hired as a defensive quality control assistant for Kentucky. That is a job for young, very young guys who are film guys. That's for not for ex-player who's also defensive coordinator. I mean, good for him, I guess, but like that just shows how terrible he was in Washington, especially with the talent. So I'm just so excited for Jack Del Rio to be our defensive coordinator. I think he's gonna be amazing. Here are his stats again as a player. He knows the position, or he knows he's played defense before. He's been there, just like Ron Rivera, who was a former linebacker. Jack Del Rio played in the NFL for 12 years and then started coaching from 97 until about 2016 when he went to stopped coaching and was or 2017. So I'm just super excited. Let me know what you guys think about the comparison of Jack Del Rio and Greg Manusky. I think just that hire is going to help us, I think, get us a couple more wins than we would have last year, because Greg Manusky was dropping Montez Sweat, dropping Ryan Kerrigan and Ryan Anderson all in coverage. And now this year, look for Ryan Anderson, Ryan Kerrigan to have way bigger years than they did last year, because they're going to rush the quarterback a lot more and not be dropping back in coverage. Because having someone like Montez Sweat, who's has a potential of being a Pro Bowler, All-Pro player as a pass rusher, having him drop back in coverage and covering wide receivers, running backs is not a good idea. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash the like button and let me know if you guys want to see a video on who is Jack Del Rio and a little more background information on Jack Del Rio. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Smash that like button, turn on those notifications, and stay tuned for the next video. We'll be streaming on Ed Oliver's channel next Tuesday, or this Tuesday at 7 p.m. So stay tuned for that, and peace.